What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course, and I have been so excited for this day to come. And we have the MD4 that I've been throwing for about a month now, and we have a Lux Vapor method, not specifically the one that I had been bagging, because for testing purposes this is a still relatively new MD4. We're going to use a still relatively new Lux Vapor method to test against it, and not the disc that I personally know how well it flies because it was in my bag. I'm not going to use that. We're going to use a brand new one, and let's see how these two match up against each other. I cannot wait. So, yeah, this MD4, forehand wise, it's very similar. Backhand wise, also very similar, but because it's flat, because it does have that little bit sharper, a little bit more blunt edge, it does kind of dump a little bit sooner than I want. A little bit sharper of an aggressive angle. It's a little bit more pyro than I want. So let's see if the Lux Vapor still holds true for me, or if the MD4 is going to win out. We're going to throw MD4 first on the short pad for hole 12. Just try to cruise it over the short basket. Yeah, I've missed this. I love that just very straight push. I love how straight of a push I get on the method. A lot of other discs you can get that push, but you do have to kind of flex them a little bit, but it's thrown on about the same angle, a much straighter push with still the overstable finish. So it turns out to be just a really far flying, overstable, reliable disc, and I love it. I do also want to make sure that we are clear on the distinction of this is a Lux Vapor method. The Lux Vapor in the method mold does something to the method that is absolutely phenomenal. The Neo methods, great. They're very point and shoot. They go where you want, and then they dump off, they fade. Exactly what you want out of that slot. And the C-line method is a little bit glidier than the Neo method, but even more overstable. This gets more of the glide of the C-line, but the more of the overstable finish of the Neo method. It's incredible. We're gonna keep throwing these. Method has 1 point. We're on the tee pad for 9. Just gonna throw the hyzer shot. Don't really want them to get to flat much. I remember about that branch is the aiming point. So if I keep it on hyzer, it should be great. Very, very pushy, very glidey. I love the method. Might have grip locked it slightly, but the end result was absolutely parked. This just has a more aggressive finish, and I think it gets there a little bit faster because it doesn't have as sloping of a shoulder. It's not as rounded, it's much more blunt. So it's going to slow down faster, which means it's going to achieve its overstability sooner. So the method skipped on the back side of the basket. The MD4 skipped on the short side of the basket. So method with more of the ace front line, with more of the distance, method takes 2 points now. Let's go through a forehand and see if possibly that's where the MD4 might be able to claw back a point. All right. The method has total on both throws added up together has gone 55 feet further than the MD4. Let's see if the forehand says anything here. Hole 15 is kind of the forehand hole on the course. So, especially without the wooded holes being opened up. The wind might play a factor here, but if I can get a nice smooth release on both of these, honestly, I'm not sure which one's going to perform better. So here's what we're at. The C-line is also C-line metal flake, and it's very flat on top. Shoulder slopes down softly to a very blunt edge, and then a very intense bevel, and then a bead. It's basically a baby gator, designed to be a little bit straighter and not quite as overstable. I don't think it's quite that torque resistant, at least not for my throw. But I do think it is better than the method. I also wasn't throwing either one on a forehand because I had a pyro, but that's neither here nor there. So the thing I'm experiencing with the MD4 is similar to the Buzz OS. Not quite to the extreme of the Buzz OS, but this feels like the same stability, but for power throwers. And I'm not really a power thrower. I really do generate a lot of the distance of my throw from spinning it. And this is just a more beefy. So yes, it might at some instances be more overstable and more torque resistant, but it also doesn't really have the glide or the longevity. So it's similar to like jock build versus athlete. The athlete has the longevity to maintain that, so the jock might be stronger when you first start out, but the athlete's going to be able to be stronger for longer because they're planning ahead. So MD4 is a good disc, but I think the method is a great disc, and it might take a long time for me to find another method replacement. We are on the long pad for 16, a little bit of a tailwind. Let's give these things some anhyzer and pop them out there. See if we can reach the basket today. Ridiculously short. But also, it's hard for me to control the angle of anhyzer. The rim just doesn't feel comfortable for me. This method, though, very, very akin to the Rock 3, which I threw for many, many years. So this rim just feels comfortable. And that's the difference between the big, just blunt, abrupt. It'll give you the same shot shape, but it's not going to get you the glide. Method, we're going to have to pace this one off, because this one might be another big footage added for the method. So while on par 4s, driving off the tee pad 20 or 30 feet may not necessarily be that big of a deal. When you're trying to play a par 3, 20 or 30 feet can absolutely be the difference between a made putt and a missed putt. And on the last throw, the 70 feet is almost unexcusable, which is why MD4 is great for people who really power into their discs, but I prefer a little bit spinnier and a lot glidier of a throw. It's just how I operate, and it's how I best throw discs. We're gonna see if the method can bite up some more distance over it, or can the MD4 finally cut into the 120 feet of total accumulated distance. It's yeah, method is first. We have a little bit of tailwind. I'm going to do my best to get each disc as far as I possibly can down the fairway, so however they come out, I was doing my best. Throw it out straight, let it crash and fade. That's perfect. But question is, can we get this to go out straight before it crashes and fades? Obviously, there was a much more aggressive Anheuser angle to get about the same distance. And I have control over where the method lands. I really don't have control at distance over where the MD4 lands. Therefore, method finally being reinstated in the bag. I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments down below if you have a disc you think could beat the method out. But for now, it's so nice to be back. MD4 though, great disc for power throwers. You guys are gonna love this. But for spinnier throwers, I definitely recommend more Method Rock 3 style disc. Hopefully you enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, please make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber only giveaways. Definitely helps me out as well. And until next time, see you out on the course.